Hi, and welcome to the summer edition of Channel 6 Sports. This is kind of a farewell tour for Taran Meyer, who actually is leaving us to go back to Utah. We are going to miss him, but the show must go on, and so we're going to give you one last chance to talk to us, and that's Taran Meyer. This is Paige Webb to my right. I'm Mitchell Morgan. I've been on this show probably more than anybody, but that's how it is. Guys, the season for every sport's coming to an end for UCA. Male Athlete of the Year for you.
Jordan Howard. Plain and simple, Jordan Howard. Female Athlete of the Year? You want to know my female?
Sure.
Maggie Profit.
Maggie Profit, okay.
Staying with basketball.
I know you've seen football several times. You're a huge baseball fan, and you love baseball.
Do you want to know
You've been around the game.
Male Baseball Player of the Year?
Male Baseball Player of the Year. So far this year for the Bears.
You're one and only, Mitchell. Cody Davenport.
Cody Davenport. What about him?
I think as a freshman, he's really stepped up to the plate. He can pitch. He can hit.
He's played tremendously.
He has.
As a
he's
freshman.
stepped up to the plate.
And so I think he definitely has potential to be another star for this UCA team.
Me too.
Sports-wise, looking back on the year, UCA's football team went 7-4. The volleyball team kind of slacked a little bit. The women's team did make it to the postseason. The men's team had some progress, 5 wins. We've seen the baseball team go up and down. Like I said earlier, it's been a roller coaster for this team. If you had to pick a team of the year for this UCA campus, who would you pick?
Thus far, the team of the year for me is obviously the Sugar Bears. They made it to the NCAA tournament. They flew through the Southland Conference tournament. Kind of won the regular season by default, but no one's looking at that. But no, Sugar Bears basketball.
I'm going to say women's tennis.
Yeah, I definitely think you're on the right track there. If you look at their record here lately, they've finished above 500 in conference. They made their postseason. They make it to the tournament. And so shout out to you for definitely giving love to teams that we don't cover.
Some teams we don't cover as much. I think it's good to talk about.
Another team that's played really well on campus is the softball team. The softball team wants some love. I know we cover baseball extensively.
We do.
Softball has been, Coach Kuhn for that team he's been a great coach. He brings the right girls in. We've seen several girls come through the softball team that have been tremendous, And so that's a team out there that, if I could give any credit to the Coach Kuhn, I mean, he's coached these girls extremely well. I wish we had enough manpower to be able to cover them like we do the other sports.
Absolutely.
I wish we could cover every sport on campus,
Me too.
If there was one sport we could cover more of, besides softball, what would you pick?
Well, I would say softball, but I hope that next year we have enough people where we can cover every sport: basketball, tennis, volleyball, softball, baseball. Give everyone a little love.
It'd be nice.
Yeah.
I think you know my answer to this question.
Soccer.
I think men's and women's soccer need some love. I think they're both on the ups. Women's soccer had a great year last year. We hosted the conference tournament, and Coach Jeremy Bishop, he's been great. And like I said, they're on the up. Men's team did struggle. They have struggled. They made some changes in the off season, and this spring season they've been great. And I've been lucky enough to be a part of that and see that. So to get them some coverage, and the fact that they play in a different conference than the rest of the school is actually, we play different competition, sometimes even higher competition. I'm going to go ahead and say it.
Right.
Different competition. So I think to be able to cover something other than just the Southland would be very, very beneficial.
Now, I'm going to come back to you a second because I'm sure you have a lot to say about the baseball team who's still in season. But, Taran, you probably have the best perspective on soccer than all of us. We all have our sports that we follow. Hers, you played softball. I cover baseball. You played soccer. Prediction for this UCA team next year. I mean, what could you tell us about this team? How are they going to be? You did talk about them playing in another conference compared to other sports at UCA. Is it harder for them to play other sports? Because I'm sure that sport the Ohio Valley, right? I can't even say
Missouri Valley.
Missouri Valley. Okay, so they play teams obviously in Missouri,
Yep.
Kansas.
So the Missouri Valley Conference is UCA, Drake, SIUE, Edwardsville, Missouri State up in Springfield.
Yep.
Who am I missing? Evansville in Indiana, and Loyola Chicago. There's only 7 teams. One team does not make the postseason, and we made it into the tournament as a 6th seed this past year. Previous 2 years we didn't make it. And if you win one game in conference, you're almost guaranteed to go, which is crazy. I mean, any conference in the country, that's hardly the case. I think looking forward to the fall for this team, if they continue the work in the spring, they've done an extraordinary amount of work in the weight room. They've been fantastic on the field. They look like a team. They're playing like a soccer team, and they're really gelling together off the field. And I think the new coaching staff, head coach Ross Duncan, he's been here. He's not new. New goalkeeper coach and first assistant Mitch McKay has been great. Lee Quadio, very, very intense. And, I think the guys have respect for them, and I think that's translating on the field, not only respect for the coaching staff, but respect for what they want to do and respect the game as well.
You talked about coaches extensively for both the soccer teams. Coaches in general here at UCA, it seems like athletic director Teague hires the best of the best that he can get. For us being a smaller or an FCS school, we have tremendous coaches, whether it's Coach Jones, who has coached, up in Missouri, whether it's Coach Campbell, who has a great track record, Coach Gum, Coach Kuhn. I mean, the list goes on. Coach Pennell, Coach Rushing. I mean, the list goes on and on.
As well
for
as
each
assistant coaches as well.
Exactly.
All around,
we
really good.
don't bring people in here that don't know about the sport they're coaching. You're a Diamond Doll. You know the baseball team. You know the coaches. We've been around the coaches for the baseball team. They're very humble. What about a girl's perspective? Somebody that's been close to the game, somebody that's been around them all year long.
Yeah, from my standpoint, Coach Gum's wife, Miss Sheena, she is over the Diamond Doll, so we do get to interact a lot with Coach Gum and with her, and they're a great family. They have 2 little boys. They're awesome little boys. They play baseball, of course, but I know on the field he's great, but as just a genuine guy, him and Miss Sheena are great people.
Yeah, and I definitely think having my coaches show with Coach Gum, it's been fun. He's very humble. He's a funny guy to talk to. You would think if you just didn't know him, you'd think he was some strict coach, but he's got a humor, sensitive side. Coach Klein, the hitting coach, he's hilarious.
He's hysterical, man.
He's just, list goes on and on. Yeah, and definitely playing for the Gamecocks in South Carolina. He knows his baseball. He knows what it takes to win. Coach Harlan, the pitching coach, he's got a slew of great pitchers. Connor Gilmore, my other favorite, Cody Davenport, Tyler Gray. The list goes on. Coach Harlan has a great surrounding cast, supporting cast around him. And then you have Jordan Hill, who we actually got to mic up this past week, and just the things he says while he's on the field, just the personality this guy has. The players love him. Because he's just so personal with them. He played baseball. He played with Coach Gum. He knows how Coach Gum is. And I'm sure all the players look up to him like a big brother or,
definitely,
that uncle that they all love.
So. And you talk about all the positives about the coaching staff, and that translates into the team as well. You can definitely see that these baseball players are going to turn into just like the coaches. Personal people, very, very good off the field, good players on the field. And, they're just good guys all around. And I think, like you said, Jordan's a jack of all trades, man. He's a cool dude.
He is.
He's a cool dude.
I think if you talk to him, I've talked to Coach Gum, and I think one of his big things is he's getting these kids ready, obviously to play baseball, but he will tell you he's getting them ready for life after college too. So he has said that. He'll tell you that. I think that's important.
Yeah. So next fall, it's pretty much going to be me and you on the show. Like I said,
is.
Taran's moving back home.
Taran's
got bigger things to do. But we get to cover football and volleyball extensively in next fall.
What
are you looking forward to the most about either one of those sports, or what would you like to work on sports-wise, knowledge-wise?
There wasn't any volleyball in my high school, so I haven't been around volleyball much. So I'm excited to get to work with that and learn more about that. And I think it'll be good. I'm excited.
And then, the Sugar Bears, Coach Jones in her second season, you got to watch them a lot this past year. Do you see them having a better season than last year, and do you think Coach Jones has these players' attention and focus for them to be able to maybe even win conference this year?
Yeah, definitely. I think last year was definitely a bump in the road. I don't think anybody really expected them to drop games, even series that they did, and then bowing out in the first round of Sam Houston here on our campus hosting the tournament. I think they're not going to want to do that again, whether or not we host the tournament or not, which we're not. So I think they're going to be just fine. I think they're going to do great this year.
You talked about hosting tournaments, so last question for you guys. All around sports-wise, we've hosted volleyball tournaments. What else would you like to see? What sport would you like to see host a postseason game here? Football, it seems like a football home game in the postseason would speak volumes. This place would be packed. Coach Campbell would have a huge crowd. And honestly, I can see that in a couple of years with the way Coach Campbell has his team going. But besides volleyball, what other team would you like to see have a postseason home game?
We talk about women's soccer. They hosted the tournament. We got to see all the Southland teams show up and play. I'm going to stick with men's soccer, because men's soccer hosts the tournament. We get to play, and you get the entire tournament. The community gets to come out and see different teams that this school just simply does not see. And a very, very high level of the game of soccer that, really Central Arkansas, besides, the team here, doesn't get to see. And so I think that would be very, very important for not only UCA, but the community as a whole and the soccer community here in Central Arkansas.
I'm like you. I think it would be exciting to have a football post-game. But what about, I have a question for you. What about the media coverage? What about us? How can we get more coverage of more sports?
You know, I mean, time management for us, I think that's going to be a huge thing for
Yeah,
media. I mean,
think so too.
covering all sports on UCA would be hard. It's capable. I think we could do it. You know, it might not be each sports that may not have the big packages like we do now for baseball or whatever it may be. But, you know, UCA has such a great sports tradition that it's kind of sad sometimes not to be able to cover everybody because each sport plays so well. And if you don't come to the games, then you're not going to know about it.
Right.
And that comes back to us journalistically that, hey, we need to get the word out there about this team. And it's also we are media guys, we are journalists, but we have, I guess, we have a huge history in marketing, you know,
Right.
because we all try to promote our stuff. We all try to promote each team. We do that with baseball. We're going to do that next year with football and volleyball. And so if we could be able to just do that a little bit for each team, I think that would speak volumes for each team.
Me too.
Because, I mean, Coach Pennell, going back to basketball, I know he has to be upset not seeing the crowd there at the Ferris Center. I mean, the basketball team, yes, they have been bad some years.
Yeah.
They only won a couple of games last year.
Right.
But they have potential. They have the right pieces to be better. And, you know, it makes it 10 times easier to win more games if you have more people in the stands.
And I think for us, having the personal relationships, not only with the players, to just, you know, they see our faces, they see our reporters' faces, they see, you know, me working with the Echo, my writers, coming out and just putting a face to a name. That's
Yeah.
very, very important. I know you've established stuff with being in the Diamond Dolls. You've had a coach's show.
Coach Campbell loves me. Nicknames.
Coach Campbell's great. And I think just the professionalism and the familiarity with these sports is going to be key because people start seeing us on Channel 6. You guys on Channel 6. Not me anymore. I think that's very important because then you can put a face to the name and they trust you and we can do our jobs and it can be a good thing.
We have had, I'm sorry,
no,
one
go ahead.
more and I'm done, I promise. But Facebook has been a huge thing for us. We have had a lot of hits on our videos, and I know Taran, the Echo's gotten pretty popular too. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's crazy to see how fast that's exploded and taken off. You know, it may not seem like a lot, but if you, in the years past when I was here, before y'all started, when we had, I mean, I can just go to the list of journalists that we've come
Right.
through. Our views back then compared to now is like a landslide. You know,
Such a huge
people didn't even
difference.
know what I did. People
Yeah.
didn't have no proof of what I looked like or what was going on. We used to have to be in the other studio, and it was so hard to film stuff in there.
Yeah.
And now that we film out places, it's made it 10 times easier to get our voices out there. What's funny about our show is that it may be, I guess, it's not really my show, but I do host. I sit with the coach. What's
It's your
funny?
show. It's your show.
It's your show. We're all just
No, I
We're living in
give
it.
y'all credit for it. What's funny is that most people don't even know I'm on that show. Most people will watch the first half and they see you, obviously because you open it, and then they see you routing the bases with whoever it may be, and people are like, "Are you even on that show?" And I was like, "Look, you have to get to the 6-minute mark and watch on."
6-minute mark is the golden mark.
I'm there.
Pay attention to Mitchell. His segment is
6-minute mark.
fantastic.
But what's funny is that, you know, people watch it. People stop us all the time. You know, I even went to the Little Rock game a couple weeks ago, and Nick Carlin's wife, she stopped me and said, "Hey, I watched y'all show. Y'all doing great. Keep it up." And that's just
Yeah.
one of numerous people that have stopped us and
I've
tell
been
us.
stopped by several people, but I know Taran got he got to round the bases with President Courtway,
Yeah,
so
I did.
that's
That was
an awesome experience.
That was a really cool thing. You know, he's a really good guy. He had a lot of cool things to say about not only Channel 6, but UCA Sports and University as a
Yeah.
whole. You know, he's been around for quite a while. And no, that's not an old joke. But he's been around. He knows the
Right.
he knows the reins.
Yeah.
He knows the ropes. And you know, that was good. And I think piggybacking off what you said about people stopping you in public, I've had several really cool instances where people will stop me on campus and, "Hey, you're the sports guy.
Yeah.
You guys do the sports," and that's pretty cool.
At least somebody
And-
gets it.
Huh?
I said, at least somebody gets the attention.
No, whatever. No. No, it's just been really cool. And to think that people are actually paying attention, and obviously, like you said, Facebook's a massive platform. Social
Right.
media, that's where everybody
Obviously.
gets their news these days.
But it
And
also-
implementing that is very, very important. And so far
Yeah.
it's worked out, and hopefully it can we have nowhere to go but up.
Yeah, I mean, it looks good for Channel 6, but it looks good for UCA as a campus as well, I
Absolutely.
think. It shows that we do have a strong program.
And it looks good for us for social media preference for our
Yeah.
resumes. That definitely helps out a
For
lot.
sure.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you guys for joining me. Good
Thank
luck
you.
back at Utah
Thank you.
with
Thank
all
you.
your endeavors. Like you heard it here first. Changes are coming, and that's going to do it for us this summer. Stay tuned in the fall. Me and Paige will be back to cover football and basketball and volleyball. Thanks for watching.